France is literally burning, but Macron has decided to burn something else. A nuclear showdown has started between Brussels and Paris, and dear God, it's pretty interesting. Hello and welcome to the Global Game with me, Vedika. Let's begin.
Нам западных элит у нас много друзей, причем во всем мире.
Hello and welcome to TFIGlobal, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis. France is gearing up to wage a full fierce battle against the EU. According to a media report by Reuters, France has announced to double its efforts to have nuclear-derived fuels recognized in EU renewable energy targets, potentially provoking a conflict between nations seeking to approve the targets this month. In order to reach more ambitious EU targets for increasing renewable energy this decade, negotiators from EU countries and the European Parliament are preparing for final negotiations on March 29. However, a disagreement over whether fuels produced using nuclear power should be included in the targets has put the effort to reduce Europe's contribution to climate change and help countries end their dependency on Russian gas in a deadlock. France is now prepared to make a new proposal on the subject. France intends to amend the law to exempt hydrogen produced from nuclear energy, which is referred to as low-carbon hydrogen, from the EU's purported green push. France suggests adjusting the goals that need to be discussed, such as aiming to produce 42% of the hydrogen used in industry from renewable sources by 2030. However, Germany, Spain, and Denmark, meanwhile, are among the countries opposed to such a move. They say nuclear energy does not belong in renewables targets and warn that this would undermine the massive expansion of renewable energy. Europe needs to hit climate goals and replace Russian gas. But France has tools. As per the EU leaders, if Macron fails to convince the EU on adopting nuclear energy, France disrupted a meeting of EU leaders in Brussels on 23rd March, in which the officials discussed economic competitiveness as well as ammunition deliveries to Kiev. France says the aim is to ensure rapid replacement of fossil fuel-based hydrogen by hydrogen that no longer contributes to climate change, be it produced with renewable energy or from nuclear power. And so, EU leaders are baffled and enraged at Macron's proposal. Luxembourg's Prime Minister Xavier Bettel, in an interview, has expressed his discontent with Macron. Bettel has criticized Macron because he is trying to label nuclear power with a European label that would give the vital French industry a boost. Bettel's criticism risks reinforcing divisions between Macron and his fellow EU leaders as they meet in Brussels to discuss the green tech plans at the European Council summit on 23rd of March. Those who follow France for the long haul know the importance of France's nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is an important source of power for many countries, and France is no exception. Energy production via nuclear power provides France with over 75% of its electricity, making it one of the world's largest producers of nuclear energy. Nuclear energy also plays an important role in France's economy. Nuclear power plants provide employment for thousands of people and generate billions of euros in revenue for the country. Nuclear power is also an important source of energy security for France. Since 2017, Macron has been committed to nuclear energy and has plans to continue expanding its fleet of nuclear power plants in the coming years. However, the EU holds a different perspective on nuclear energy. It continues to be worried about the possibility of radioactive waste and nuclear accidents like the one at Chernobyl in 1986, because it uses limited resources and emits greenhouse gases. Nuclear energy is not seen by the EU as a sustainable energy source. Hence, Macron and the EU have been at odds for decades as a result. But as the energy crisis currently ravages Paris' crucial energy sector, Macron is prepared to do whatever it takes to save its nuclear energy. France's nuclear output is tumbling down. France's nuclear reactors are now operating at about 70% of capacity. Data from grid operator RTE show that's roughly the same level as a year ago. Still, its nuclear output is historically low when compared with the average from 2018 to 2022. These troubles come at a time of uncertainty about the future of nuclear energy. Germany plans to shut down its last remaining reactors in April after prolonging their use to help the country get through the energy crisis this winter. Belgium recently shut permanently 2 of its 7 reactors. Because of the terrible situation, France is even delaying the restart of numerous reactors. For instance, the Flamanville 1 reactor in western France has been out of service since April due to concerns about potential corrosion in an emergency cooling pipe. The unit was scheduled to resume operation next month. That won't occur until at least the beginning of June this year. In addition, France continues to rely on the uranium trade between Paris and Moscow to maintain the operation of its current reactors. As investigations have revealed recently, France has continued to use a plant in Siberia to recycle radioactive materials since the start of the war in Ukraine last year. However, according to a Greenpeace report, Russian influence is still significant than the companies in the nuclear sector would have us believe in France. This is sufficient evidence of France's growing reliance on third nations to maintain its nuclear sector. And this is why Macron is doing everything in his power to save the dying beauty. Furthermore, the EU appears to be playing spoilsport in this case regarding nuclear energy. When compared to other energy sources, nuclear energy has a number of benefits, including being economical and clean. Because nuclear energy doesn't release any greenhouse gases, it helps to lessen the effects of climate change. Even so, it is ludicrous that the EU does not consider nuclear energy to be a green source. Now, the EU has 3 options: follow Macron's instructions, suffer the consequences, or set up Macron in more difficult matters. Let's wait and see how the EU resolves this difficult situation.